going to step away for just a second. We've got 7 minutes before the show starts. It looks like everything's set up. Hello and welcome to Tavern Talks. It is episode 58. I am your GM slash host, James, or the GM Misfit. And tonight we have a wonderful guest, Brandon Grant. Woohoo! Hold on, guys. Rewind this. DungeonGrandmaster.com. Chris here reached out to me. We talked for a bit. He has these amazing shirts. If you didn't see these on Slots in Darkenhaven, all of our players were sporting those. And I thought, what a better way to find out more about what he's doing, and also just to pick his brain on D&D. That's what we do here, is to bring him on board. So, how's it going, Chris?
Oh, great. How are you, James?
Doing well, man. I tell you, this is my favorite show, and people here that have been here for a while know it because this is the show where I just get to talk about D&D for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on what our crowd looks like for the evening. So before we start go rolling into things, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am probably what you would call an old school gamer. I started out with AD&D, so that was my first venture uh, into D&D. I think I was around 10 years old. So I
Okay.
fell in love with the game when I was very young and have continued playing my entire life. I ended up held on to first edition for a long time. uh, AD&D was just such a part of my childhood and such a great game. My best friends and I still played it years later, and we moved into 3.5 and then recently moved into 5, and we're just having a blast playing 5. I've been playing with some other groups, playing 5th edition, and yeah, I've been just a long time gamer, love the game. I've played some other games as well. I'm a fan of Shadowrun. I don't know
Oh
if you
boy,
played Top Secret Commando.
boomer
Um,
stuff.
yeah. TMNT, Car Wars. So I've played a gamut of different games. I keep coming back to D&D. It just seems like that's my favorite. Um, and it just seems like the most fun, that fantasy setting.
Yeah.
Uh, keep coming back there. So.
No, I completely agree with that. The fantasy setting is kind of my bread and butter. It's where I live. It's this is the this has been my home for so many years that I finally decided to fully delve into it once we started finding out the idea of being able to online, and play games online. Because the biggest thing I always had a hard time finding other people who were in. And when virtual tabletop came out, it was like the gift that just keeps giving because it went from allowing our friend group that I used to play with come back together. It allowed for us to have the ability to bring new people into the game from all over the world. And then on top of it, it really allowed for the opportunity for stuff like this where you're streaming and you're growing professionally and things like that. And I just, I really do enjoy the uh, the way that this has started to develop, both as a industry as well as the game that I grew up.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
one thing I love to ask my guests, and this kind of gives me that perspective of who I'm talking to and kind of where you're coming from, is I ask people three questions. So the
Okay.
first question is, what what was the what was the moment, or what was the time, or what was the reasoning behind diving into tabletop role playing games, or the first experience? What brought you to?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, 10 years old, it might be hard to remember, but I mean,
Well,
for
I
me,
remember.
it's like yesterday when it comes to
Yeah.
what what brought me to something like this.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember my best friend since I was 4 years old. They were sitting down and playing. They were telling me about this amazing game, um, Dungeons and Dragons, and we all kind of liked that fantasy genre anyway. And oh, also tell me more about this. Oh, you have a half orc. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, what are you, a dwarf? And oh, you're a fighter and you can swing an axe. And they were just telling me all these amazing stories. I was like, oh, I want to play next time. So they were getting me all juiced up to play. I was really excited to play. And another friend of theirs, another childhood friend, ended up being my childhood friend as well. We all sat down and I was able to play with them. And I remember the character I made. So his name was Rodan. He was a ranger. So my first character ever was a ranger.
There you
And
go.
one big thing that stood out, so there was a stat called comeliness that was an optional stat for your character in AD&D. And my character had an 18 comeliness. That's what I rolled. So we just rolled each stat out. It was roll four, drop the lowest, re-roll any ones. So that's what we did.
Right.
And just roll each stat down the line and ended up rolling an 18 comeliness. So I didn't know what to do with that. It was my first time playing.
Yeah, you're
Um,
gonna. I feel bad because I've been playing since third edition. I didn't actually have anybody in my peer group or anything that knew anything about second or first. You're gonna have to explain to me what this stat is.
so it's beauty. How
Okay,
beautiful is your character? Which
nice.
is in
So
the eye of
it's
the
very
beholder, of course.
similar to, your charisma modifier at this point.
Yeah, they broke out charisma as in how likable you are to comeliness, which is physical beauty. Uh,
Right.
Again, in the eye of the beholder, of course. But yeah, they put a stat to that. It was optional, and we were like, oh, let's try it. The DM at the time, he was like, let's try it out. So it's kind of funny that I rolled that.
Yeah,
So
no,
we're
that's
all
great.
laughing. I rolled 18 as my highest uh,
Hey, but
stat. So
that's the thing though, but you remember that, right? You remember that
yeah,
you had to develop the character with some of these quirks and some of these changes, and the character wouldn't be the same
true.
without that, right? And that's interesting because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Because
Mhm.
your shirts are all based around a lot of them. I don't know about all of them. I've looked through most of your website already, but
Yeah.
most of your shirts are based around a class. I think that's so cool because those are the things that I remember more than my first character was a so
Cool. Yeah.
couldn't tell. The high charisma, high, um, and this was back in third edition where the Purple Dragon Knight was a lot more useful because you actually got a dragon after level 8, which was amazing. Now I'll tell you, it wasn't the dragon that you see in like the monster manual, but it did have some of those abilities and it could fly, and it was just. But the fact that I was a huge Dragon Riders of Pern fan when I was growing up, and the
Yeah.
idea that I could create that character that I had read about and kind of created in my mind early on in my life, and then brought him to having stats and having a story behind it, building that on. It was a great way for me to introduce that character to another form, which is
Hmm.
so. And you said you've been playing since you were 10. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm guessing I'm not gonna pick ages because I normally ask how long have you been playing, but some people don't like to offer that information. I've been playing for almost 20 years now, and it's been forever.
Uh,
So,
I'd
but
say 30 years.
yeah, hey,
So, yeah,
I
yeah.
respect people that have done that because that's the one thing that I now see now having kids and being able to hand this project this passion off to my kids. We took my oldest to Gen Con this year, and it was his first big convention as a tabletop experience, which is so much different. Because
Mhm.
growing up, I did the anime conventions, I did comic book conventions, you did like Star Wars conventions, and there's nothing like a tabletop convention. Where my home is, it's where I live nowadays, and I have never seen the experience that I saw. There's not as much hostility in this convention compared to the other types. everybody's playing games, everybody's having fun, not everybody's just walking around doing the mole run, just going back and forth through the. No, there's something going on for everybody, and most people are sitting down playing that they've never met before, and they've all got smiles on their face. They're all laughing, and it's as if they were best friends since the moment. And that to me is why tabletop role playing is so cool. Um,
Mhm.
so off my banter there because I just
I
super
agree.
passionate about. But so my final question then is: have you, or if you have, when did you decide that picking up the mantle of dungeon master was something
Oh,
in your purview?
oh wow.
How did that feel? Because that is kind of the crux of Tavern Talks is giving people an experience to help them become game masters, to be
Yeah.
players, and also to show off cool things which is also why we have you.
Mhm.
But I like to ask these questions. I know they're sometimes hard.
That is a great question. So as you were kind of asking, you asked a question and my brain was kind of churning. I was like, when did I DM my first mission? And it was a solo mission, not a one person. So two people, DM, one player.
Okay,
Um, and I had written my own module
awesome.
called Elements. And so I don't know why I did that, or I've been playing for a while, and I was like, oh, I think I want to try this. So I started writing my own adventure and making it all detailed and maps, and um, every level was uh, a different element. So you started in ice, and then you went to lightning, and then the bottom level was, of course, fire, and you had all these different uh, levels that you had to contend with. And my friend, who was the first DM I ever played with, he was like, "Wow, this is really cool. You can, this is really fun. You can really make cool adventures." So then I started making adventures, and really just DMing him for a while, and then the rest of my friends, um, they all kind of had their turn, kind of going in to DM. And then at a gaming convention, I picked up a book called Tales of the Outer Planes,
Okay,
which is a classic, another classic one.
yeah.
Uh, kind of took that and morphed it into a whole campaign. It was like a book of layers,
Hmm.
uh, but extra planar.
Yeah. No,
Travel the planet,
I've
layer.
heard of it. I've never played it myself, but I've definitely heard of it. And yeah, no, telling you, these are those things I hear after so long and being like, oh wow, I haven't heard this game in years.
Yeah. But that book led to me basically doing my first campaign. So that's when I did just not you're doing my own little homebrew missions to now doing a full fleshed out campaign with this kind of as an inspiration, a little bit of a guide or inspiration. And then that flushed out into a big campaign. And that was my first campaign, and everybody loved it. So it's like, I got to keep doing this. I'm addicted now.
Oh,
So yeah, that was the end.
you and me both. Telling
Well,
you, I do the
kidding.
same thing. I'm just like fully involved at this point. I've been running these. They're really loud, guys. Sorry about that. A little background music. Background. Anyway, um, no, it's that's really the passion that I had as well, where I started playing, and then all of a sudden I was, and this character has developed so much. I don't kind of really want to give him up. So I started writing around him. I started writing the towns that they had experienced and the the world that they had developed, and then started piecing those pieces together to the point. The character became more of the architect, more of the cartographer of the entire module, and then it fleshed out my first three campaigns. Now these are all personal campaigns. Never published them. never touched. Those are close to my heart, and those will stay close to my heart and my friends that we played with. But there are campaigns that I've had the opportunity to now publish, work with.
Cool.
Seeing those
Mhm.
same passions for so many people, it's definitely a driving force for me because I find so many people have giant campaign, 10, 20 plus year campaign, never shown it to the world. And I'm just
Yeah.
imagine the world that you've developed in 20.
Hmm. Yeah.
So curious because you've written your own campaign or you've written your own module.
Mhm.
What was the overarching idea that your campaign,
Hmm.
like what
That
is
is a
the,
great.
I wouldn't say the plot, but the,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the tone maybe, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so it's a great story behind how it kind of the tone was developed. Um, so we kind of transitioned as players. We were at a convention. I saw a question come up. I
Yeah.
started as a player. It says,
Yeah, I
"Did you
was gonna
start?"
get the shadow in just a minute, but yeah, you're good. No, you saw the chat too, so that's
Um, so we did this campaign, and it was very different. So we played a tournament. The days of the tournament, I only ever played one tournament. Oh no, two. I played in two. I was lucky enough to play in two tournaments. I don't remember the mission, but every character had this huge backstory. So we weren't really into that yet. We were pretty young, and we weren't writing these huge backstories. And then you take that
that's
backstory.
interesting when you're saying that you're playing in a tournament and these people have, because if you think about it, I mean, I've I've read a lot about it and I've never played in a tournament style D&D game before. I think it'd be really interesting to try. Why would you
Yeah,
build a like a massive backstory if you know that's a good possibility you're dying? Like
yeah.
that one I don't get that. That's a sad ending there to a really good amount of story.
Hmm.
But that's interesting. So you were not the write the whole, write those heavy backgrounds right off the bat.
Yeah, when we were younger, we were just playing, dungeons and dungeon crawls.
Mhm.
Um, but they gave us these characters, to play for everybody to play. So every table plays the same character. And they
Mhm.
have this backstory that guides what you're supposed to do. And if you do these things according to that, then you gain points. So my character ended up with a rod of 7 parts. He was a magic user. He was obsessed with the rod of 7 parts. So I ended up getting some points.
Oh, okay.
So this this idea of backstory guiding what you do, that tells the outer planes, that's where I bought it at that same convention. Then we kind of morphed that into this. Oh, our characters are going to have all these backstories. All our characters are going to have goals and missions outside of just conquering a dungeon. uh,
Yes.
and it was a really immersive experience. And and the main kind of, you were talking about the theme. So the
Mhm.
theme was definitely that, more of that, right? Lots of role playing, lots of single sessions where characters would just have missions with just me to get personal goals done over the
Right. Yeah.
phone. I mean, I remember doing these missions over the phone, with separate players. And then we'd have our weekly games or whatever. And and as far as story goes, so there were planar traveling, and there was this platinum egg. So the platinum egg was this artifact. It was split into 4 pieces. There
Okay.
were guardians that were guarding it throughout. This was the story that I kind of added on to the Tales of the Outer Planes.
Yeah.
That was guarded by. So then each piece was assigned a guardian, and they would have to go travel the planes to find these pieces to end up saving um, this main kind of city from the Drow who are coming up. This is just when Forgotten Realms came out, and I didn't know anything about Forgotten Realms back then, but I know that has a similar story.
It
Um,
does. Yeah,
yeah.
which is like I said, I've done that many times where I'm like, this is the
Hmm.
idea I want. This is, and then they're like, it's already out, and I was like,
I know. I know. And then
But
so they would find these little pieces of the egg, and they were each a piece of an artifact, and they each had powers. And then when they never did get the fourth piece, and when you put them all together, so I like to mess with timelines.
okay,
So when they put them all together, that's when the platinum dragon was born. So I like to take, oh, there's a platinum dragon in the world. Well, when did that platinum dragon, start to exist, and how did it become so
right.
strong? Well, it was originally split apart. Its egg was split apart, and then these characters actually brought the platinum dragon into being. So they never
Okay.
did accomplish that goal, but it was a
Yeah.
year and years, and it went on for years, but it was a lot of fun.
It
Everybody went
is definitely. I mean, that's definitely something that I would be personally. I'm like, oh, this makes me, like excited. Uh, my first campaign after coming back to fifth edition, back to fifth. Um, I decided to run one that was strictly heavily dragon based. I wanted to go back to my roots, back to playing Dragon Riders Return, that kind of lifestyle. And there's one dragon of every color. He else got another dragon. At least that's what they. And then as the story grew, you found out that it was a lie, that the dragons were using hideaways to protect themselves, and that clutches were being hidden away so that they rise again, types of thing. And it was 16, 17 episodes, weeks before they figured anything. And when they first opened that Pandora's box, it was that moment of, oh crap, the world is much different than we think it is, because they were told based off the religion, based off the nations, which dragons were good, which dragons were bad, who were protecting them, who weren't. And then about halfway through the first halfway through the second arc, they finally were like, this person mentioned this and this person mentioned this, and then one of my friend's characters uh, decided to do a solo mission, diving off into a Myconid colony in the middle of the night with nobody else, and stumbled upon a coral dragon who they thought was extinct, and it told him the true story of everything. And he had to then roll a wisdom save to find out if he believed it or if it was a massive acid trip. And he failed the wisdom save, so he believes that it was just an acid trip. But bits and pieces I would let him bring back to the story as through dream visions and stuff like that, just to mess with the players a little. That was my torturous play for my first campaign back at fifth edition. That was about a year and a half.
Mhm.
Does anybody else have any questions before we start revealing the cool things that this things are? I like the shirt, and it fits me well as a guy who goes to the gym and actually works out and stuff like that. It still fits like that. And all of my players had nothing but good experiences. I think it was definitely
Awesome.
a hit across the.
Mhm.
So
That's
yeah.
cool.
So I'm gonna put one shirt up here because this one really. Oh, where did the name Grandmaster, Dungeon Grandmaster? Why do I keep calling you Dragon Grand? No, Dungeon Grandmaster. Where did that come?
Dragon Grandmaster did go through my mind at one time,
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
and so it doesn't work too. Uh, yeah, it's kind of a mixture. If you look at the little castle in the logo as a rook, and you think of a dungeon master as being a chess player,
Okay.
maneuvering the pieces. So it's kind of a mixture of being a DM and being a master chess player. So I
Okay.
really like that mixture of those two ideas. Yeah,
I like that idea, and I like the little rook. First, I thought it was a chalice, but I was like, rook will
that
work.
could be, yeah. Mhm.
Um, so I'm gonna show off some of your other shirts tonight, and we're also going to, for people who are here, you get to see the premiere of the Bard shirt, which I've already seen. It looks amazing, but I'm gonna hype that up a little because that sometime tonight we'll find out. First one I'm gonna pick and it is a lovely lady, and it's not based on class. This is because I don't want to do class first. Class was cool, but this is a really neat shirt. It literally just looks like a box of dice. I don't know what it is about it, but I like it. Um, what was your inspiration on that? That just threw dice in the box and look, I want to make a shirt.
Yeah, well, if you look, you can see that they're four-siders, right? So I
Yeah.
was looking, the four-siders flying at you.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
as what's a four-sider?
Hey, it's your
That
magic missile.
Yep.
Yep. Look at
Yeah.
that. I did not catch that until now. It's a magic missile, guys. Like, look at that. I didn't see that. Dang. Game Master 3 times a week, and I couldn't catch Magic Missile. Oh well.
One of
Well,
my favorite classic spells, of course. So,
oh yeah, I agree. There's there's the famous one. I mean, I'm not going to show this one off because it's right here.
sure, yeah.
You can see
Mhm.
it behind him, and you can see the sorcerer and the homebrew, which I like. Cthulhu-based coffee mug,
Yes, the Eldritch coffee mug.
the
Yeah,
Eldritch coffee mug, and
love it.
it's funny because those are normally when I'm writing most of my like thinking through my
Yeah,
stories.
yeah.
It's either late at night or early in the morning, and I've got a coffee in my hand or another beverage, and I'm trying to come up with the next step of the puzzle. But no, I do like the. Now we need a new one that's got fireball in it.
Oh, yeah.
66, and just chuck them across the screen. You know, different spots of the body, and just let it go. Let's just see what
I've
like
got I've got a few things in the works
in
on
the
that
cooking in the cooker. Got it. No, I like it.
one. In the cook.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, right. Let's see here. So then we've got. So then, of course, we can transition over to the actual Dungeon Grandmaster, which is, you know, what I would say is kind of like your spot on shirt because it's just one. It looks nice. It's got the a unique message to it, and it's not overly complicated,
Mhm.
like the one I tried to figure out and didn't figure out. All right. Um,
This one's actually a women's cut version of it. So
okay.
there's the one we've got on, which is your standard men's slash
Yeah.
unisex cut, and then this is a woman's cut, so it's a little bit different cut to it. You know.
Right.
Mhm.
And people who want to see this like this. This is not a shirt unless it is a shirt and not on our view as a shirt. This is really cool. Um, so before your game, get into character. And that's kind of this was this nice way to for me to enter into your view of all these classes that you've created now. Um, because I think that's such a cool opportunity to be able to pick your class, and from there you can go. I'm going to show off my favorite class first because I'm the game master tonight. So, but yeah, no, before your game character, I almost think you kind of need that as a either on the
Oh,
front of the
okay.
shirt or on the back of the shirt. Like,
Oh, I like that.
but
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, no, first one I'm gonna show off is Paladin, of course, because that's what I do. Uh, I like the uniqueness behind it. Now, because for some reason either I'm blanking on the idea or I've never seen it before because I'm not as experienced in D&D as I thought I was. Uh, what is the eye supposed to be?
Oh, yeah. So that is the slit in a helmet and the little wings. So it,
Ah, I can
yeah,
see it now.
yep.
Okay.
It's like the the Batman logo. You can see
Yeah.
different things in it.
No, no, I see it. I see it now.
Yeah,
Now that I've been told, like I get it. I know how the helmet fits. Like I understand it.
yeah,
It's just I've
yeah, yeah.
uh, didn't catch
Yeah,
it right off the bat. Did anybody else catch it in the chat? If you did, let me know. Cause I just think it's cool to hear these things.
yeah. It's kind of there's a way to design things
Yeah,
that require a second look, and I kind of like playing with that sometimes. Like, oh, that
yeah,
looks like a Y. Okay, paladin. That could be a Y or an I, right? Could be a
yeah,
couple things, but it still says paladin. I thought of it like, oh, on a license plate, it's it could be different things. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna make it, into that
yeah.
bit of a helmet, and see how that turns out. And I really loved how it turned out. And this one particular,
Is that the dry fit, isn't it? Is
sorry.
that the dry fit shirts?
Oh no, it's not. This one is a little different than the one you have. It is
Okay.
50% or 60% cotton and 40% polyester. So
Okay.
it's got a little polyester to it, which makes it really durable, and um, I really like that uh, as well.
Yeah.
Uh, as well as 100% cotton. But it has you know, that polyester makes it really, really durable, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is a special print. So it's actually soft and velvety. So I went with the 80s style soft velvety print on this, and it just turned out fantastic. So when you touch it, it's raised a little bit, and it has like a velvet feel to it.
Okay. And just for people who are curious, some of the stuff is class. Some of them even. It looks like you've got a couple that are even subclass, like
Yep, there's some subclasses. Yeah.
the Beastmaster. You know, I figured we'll jump into the
Yep.
Ranger since we that seems to be that was your bread and butter at the beginning of play. I like the fact that you use the same color for the Ranger as you did for the Beastmaster. So it kind of gives this. Like I said, I think is okay. For some reason, when I first looked at this, I thought that was a knife, but I can now see the bow and arrow. I don't know why. I was tired. That's what I'm gonna go. But yeah, no, the Ranger is the other version of the green. I like that green. Thought it was a holy warhammer. See, Shadow, that's kind of where I was gonna go with it as well. But when he said helmet piece, I was like, okay, makes sense now, and I'll remember it always as the helmet. But that's kind of where I was like, is it a special warhammer that I'm wearing in crazy like that? Because I know there's a mace that has wings on it, but I don't know about a warhammer that had wings on it. So kind of where I was going. Got the Ranger. Uh, so far, without saying that your newest shirt is your favorite, because we don't want to spoil that one for a little. What
Mhm.
has been your favorite design?
That is a good question. That is a good question.
I mean, it's really hard, right? Because I mean, it's your company, so you like them all. But like, what has been your like? I wouldn't say your aha moment, but like you really got deep into this one.
Yeah, I would say um, outside of the class shirts, the homebrew. Um,
Homebrew,
yeah, I'm doing kind of a mixed Eldritch campaign right now with my group.
okay?
Um,
Homebrew,
so it's a little Eldritch mix plus Sherlock Holmes,
okay.
Victorian times, guns. It's just we're having
Say,
just a blast with it. So I really got into this shirt for that reason as well.
hey, nothing wrong with that. Yeah. So I remember. Where can we get these set up already? I will put it up again. Man does amazing shirts. And definitely need to go hook him up and get a couple. But yeah, no, dungeongrandmaster.com is where you get all these shirts from. They have shirts, they have coffee mugs, they got things like I'm going to show next for cute little kids. There's Sneaky
Oh
Little
yeah,
Faye. because I think that's hilarious. Um, for all of our little adventures that are starting to appear in the world,
Yes.
this is the best one. If you watched our episode last week on Pots and Darkenhaven, we actually were playing around in the Fey Weird Forest, which one of our players came up with the idea of FBS, which is very bullshit. And then I saw this immediately, and I was like, "How funny!" Sneaky little Fey, because they got tossed into a board pretty much, and were playing being the pieces of
Oh.
uh, a Fey court puzzle or a Fey court game, pretty much, and that was their they were they were guests at the table and then became part of the table, and they had to figure their way out, and it was a lot of fun. And this just made me laugh because this connected so well with it. Yes, sneaky
Yeah.
little Faye. Let's see here. What else can I show off? For our beat 'em up fighter classes, we've got the fighter, which I see
Okay.
is blue. Oh, look
The
at it.
uh the most popular character class is fighter.
I love the fighter. I don't know why. He's in one of the campaigns that I've played in. I made a Rune Knight fighter, and I absolutely loved it. He was a dwarf Rune Knight.
Mm.
Everything that he had was this like very Viking style tattoos that glowed when the runes were activated, and he was always excited to jump to be the big guy and jump into the middle of combat. And I think that's why the fighter is so exciting, because you get to do all the crazy crap. You
Mhm.
know, you're right up in the excitement. You could die, you could live, you could be the winner.
Yeah.
It's all there. If you're a rogue, you're normally in the back or you're behind the guy and stuff like that, and stabby stabby. But the fighter is right up. He's always in front. He's always ready to take a hit. That kind of.
Mhm.
And I think that is one of the reasons why I think fighter are exciting for me specifically. And then, of course, if you want to subclass out of the champion fighter because you think that it's cool, um, you have the Kinsei shirt. I have not seen many play the Kinsei, and I like the idea. I just have yet to decide on when I want to dive into this. Either an NPC or class itself. Have you ever played it?
Have I played? That's a good question. I don't think so, not yet.
Has
But
anybody in chat ever played a Kinsei?
yeah, good question. Now there's a little funny twist on this shirt. I don't know if you
Bought it?
caught it yet.
Did not.
Oh,
It's a
it's blue, light
katana.
blue, Ken Sai.
And then I got to show this one because I've been eyeing this one, even though I would never wear it. I am not one of those types of guys. I would. This one made me laugh after I read it like 4 times, and I'll show it in the female version because I think that's the probably the best way to put this. This one makes me laugh. Sorry, this one makes me laugh. Barbarian, and I know exactly where you're going with this, and I was like, yes, that's hilarious. I love it. Kinsei is pretty cool. We had a Goliath Kinsei once in the West March camp back. He got the KO on the big. Awesome. So, what did he use as his special or as his weapon of choice then? The Kinsei normally have I mean,
Yeah.
they're multi weapon based, but they're their weapon of choice. Curious for your Goliath,
Mhm.
if you remember. Yeah, we got the Barbarian, which I think is funny. I'm going to continue to repeat that over and over because that is
This,
amusing.
this one's a special print too.
Okay,
So
is that
I've
like
got one,
is that
got
sparkle?
one here. Yeah, I don't know if we can see it a
Oh,
little
I
bit
don't know. Let's
better,
see. Oh, I
but it's
see
all
it. Oh God,
sparkly.
it's oh no. That means when that thing goes through the wash, it's gonna get everywhere.
Actually, it doesn't.
Oh, look at that.
So
You have somehow. I've
it's
somehow
it's
created something that,
a special foil.
yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't actually it glitters, but it's all one piece foil. So
Okay. Useful because I have all boys. Thankfully, I hate glitter. Hate. You want to see a barbarian rage? Like that's me when I see glitter in the house. Because we have some friends of ours, and their daughter will come over, and she'll have something on her that's glittery, and I'll be walking through the house, and all of a sudden I'll be like, "Why is there glitter?" My eyes narrow, and I get extremely angry for about 2 seconds, and then realize that I can't yell at a little girl because it's not nice. Gonna switch back. Gonna do the sorcerer now. I played a storm sorcerer when I was in the desert through a campaign. So when I saw the lightning, I was like, "That's more." But no, the sorcerer is a unique class, and I think they have
yes.
so many cool abilities you can do, no matter what sorcerer.
Mhm. Always wanted a shadow sorcerer. I think that would be my next class. So
If
the
you
next
like,
time.
if you like shadow sorcerers and you want to see somebody play a very good one, uh, a amazing show over on YouTube called Realmsmith, season 1 of Into the Mist. It's a Barovian Curse of Strahd animate or actual live play, and one of their players, Roan, is a shadow sorcerer. Plays that dark and brooding to a T, and I'm so proud of it. I've met the man; he's amazing. But
Well,
I've met a lot of people in this industry, and I have yet to really meet too many that I don't believe are like the salts of the earth. Don't know what it is about the industry. I think it is the fact that it has to be a collaborative play. It has to be, you have to work together no matter what part of this world you're in. That it just spews out into everything that we do in the industry. Oh, hi Brina! That's our artist. She's amazing. I will shout her to the ends of the world because she has done so well for us. Brina, I have an idea I need from you when we have a chance to talk. She said, "Did I already miss the druid shirt?" Druid shirt.
I do have a druid shirt.
I have a druid shirt. Hold on, I'll pull it up. I won't be able to. I won't probably pull it up on stream, but what I will do is I will go to their website, dungeongrandmaster.com. Yeah, I said it right this time instead of Dragon Grandmaster. Look at me. And I will grab the druid shirt and I will toss it up in the. Oh
Oh,
no,
there you
he's got all sorts of fun shirts. He's got cleric, artificer, bard, sorcerer, rogue, warlock. I missed the druid. There's the druid.
got all the standard classes, all the base classes, and a few other subclasses.
Oh,
But
nice. And also, for
whatever you're
everybody who doesn't know this, because I'm learning this now, is that I went through and scrolled through like the center portion just to look at all the shirts, but now as you go in, you have multiple choices of colors even. So
oh yeah.
there's that too. You can do green, blue, or black on druid shirt.
Mhm.
So I like that. Now before my wonderful artist runs away, should we reveal
Let's do it.
the new shirt? For all of our friends here, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to reveal the new shirt that he's about to release. Actually, I guess he's releasing tonight. And we're going to
Yep.
show it off here first image. And then I'm going to ask him if he will send me one. But this shirt is it speaks to me so much. I love it. Yes, a new shirt. Here it comes. Ready for the rumble? Hold on. I can do this. Give me a second, people. Where is my Sirenscape? All of our sounds are by Sirenscape. We love them. Where's my drum roll? Oh, where's my drum roll? I'm gonna do this because it needs to have a drum roll.
Does does.
This is what happens. And not tell me this thing doesn't. No, there's a lot. Not them. from hits. The butch. One more for. All right, and boom! Heavy metal bard. Look at this thing. I'm telling you, I need this shirt. This shirt.
There
I
it
need this
is.
shirt, and I will wear this shirt for a lot of places. Look at that, people. Heavy metal bard. Thankfully, that sport supporting all things Dungeons and Dragons, including the new world of Stranger Things,
Mhm.
which this is definitely a awesome. But actually, if we want to get deeper into this, because
Mhm.
I love the idea of this, there was a heavy metal game back in early 2000s, maybe late 2000s, that was Jack Black running through the depths of Hades with his axe, and it was a giant it was a guitar, and I loved it. And this is where heavy metal bard sits in my heart, because this is what I would love to play one day as an orc.
Yes.
But
Yes.
or Goliath. I guess Goliath could work too. Orc, Goliath, something heavy, something big. Ooh, I could even do. We could do a real good pun. We could create a warforged bard as the heavy metal.
Yeah.
I might
Oh,
need to create this. Brina, if you have ideas to
my
collaborate with this on a character, please let me know. Because heavy metal bard is a warforged bard with a guitar as an axe
Mhm.
sounds amazing. And now I'm excited. Hopefully, she dives into this with me and come up with something, because her artwork is fantastic.
Cool. Cool.
But yeah, no, thank you for letting us show this off. This is exciting, and I am super 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 excited to keep working with you guys, and what you guys did to offer for us for shirts and just to come hang out with us. Now I'm curious, are you this a one man show, or do I need to like let a lot of people like know that you guys are awesome as a group?
It is a one-man show right now. I have uh well, actually it's like a one with some help on the side.
Hey,
Some
on
help with
there.
social media um from my wife's sister actually.
There
She's
you
really
go.
social media.
So
So she really helps us. So she's great.
so
She does
shout
a
out
lot.
to shout out to Dungeon Grandmaster's wife's sister, because without her I probably wouldn't have even reached you. So I do appreciate that. Do all the shirts come in men's and women's? Question.
They don't, but we can do a custom.
There we
So
go.
and email me. That my email's on the website, or you can use our chat, and I'll get that too. If you want a unisex version of something, or you want a female version, female cut version, I can do that.
I
So,
almost wish I almost wish I had kids still in onesies, because I would be like, I want a customized heavy metal bard onesie. Uh,
oh,
but
heck, yeah.
I don't have any little ones anymore. All of mine have grown up to the point of, you know, wearing real clothes, which is okay because that means less diapers. Madcap mugs, you eat, sleep, D&D, repeat. Sleep is crossed out, which makes sense because I never sleep. And now I see your I now see the magic missile mug. I think
Mhm.
I did not realize that it was saying it and everything, but that's because I didn't look close enough. Uh, Now curious, because you not just only have shirts. I see some dice on, and I don't know for anybody else, but I'm a sucker for click clacks. You couldn't tell by the giant bag of dice that I have. Big bag of dice. And that's like one. That's like the bag of all the random dice. I also have boxes of, you know, sets of dice that I like to keep around with me.
Mhm.
So we've got animals inside RPG dice set. We got daggers metal dice set. Galaxy handcraft. Ooh, those look pretty. Um, those remind me of dispel dice. That's saying something. Those dice are
Mhm.
uh D&D dice scroll rolling mats, and shiny metal dice. So if you guys are addicted like I am, go check out their gaming dice sets as well. You make these?
I don't make them. No, I don't
Okay.
make the sets. Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I was like, you do shirts, you do dice. Like, holy crap, what can this man not do?
I would like to make dice sets as well. I think that's on the radar, but yeah. I'm,
They are. I mean, I know people that have made dice sets, and they are rough, and you have to be ready to use a lot of unique resins and items to put inside them and make sure they hit the right spot. And nope, I don't have the patience for it to do another project. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure if I pick up anything else other than Dungeons and Dragons, my family will slowly start to dissolve, and I would prefer not for that to happen. So, so I would prefer to keep my family right where they're at the moment, and yeah. So, but no, Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on here.
yeah,
Um,
for having me. It's been a lot of
and
fun.
I want to talk about something now, but I
Mhm.
know we are already at an hour, so it's really up to our audience. Do you guys want to stick around and talk to Chris a little bit more? Because I'm willing to do so, and I want to ask him about D&D, or let me phrase that, one D&D, and we can all talk about one D&D because this is the new thing right now, and I'm
Mhm.
if y'all are willing to stick around and hang out with us for a little bit longer, I'm gonna pull up a PDF on my screen, and I guess I could. Let's see how to do that. Uh, I can also link the compendium. Yes, if you have D&D Beyond, you can go check out the character origins, which is the newest thing from Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins. This is gonna give races, backgrounds, language, feats. So they're kind of transitioning on how character creation is built. So I'm really interested to see they're blending race, background, and language together to make a more coherent character, I guess you would put, a more fleshed out character from the beginning. Because normally I tell my players I want you to come up with an idea before you come up with a character, and then we start building around the idea rather than base class, that kind of thing. Because if you
Mhm.
aren't going to understand how to play the class, it's a little.
Mhm.
But they have new human races. Well, they have a new human race. I don't think it's much different, but you gain inspiration whenever you finish. Ooh, that's interesting. So as a human, you gain inspiration as with resourceful. You gain inspiration whenever you finish a long rest,
Hmm.
and you gain proficiency one additional skill of your choice due to skillful, and you gain your skill feat or another first level feat. Those are the three feature traits of a.
Hmm.
Then they have the Ardling. Ardlings are supernatural beings who are either born on the upper planes or have one or more ancestor who originated. So kind of like Azimut, maybe?
Hmm.
Ardling has a head resembling that of an. Oh, no, they're animal kind.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
oh, this reminds me of the. You would remember this most likely, the avatars.
Hmm.
Um, I remember in third edition on the monster manual that allowed you to play some of these monsters,
Yeah.
uh, the one
Mhm.
that had the dog, like the bulldog head, but had the
Yeah.
wings.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that gives me a very Egyptian feel. So I'm curious what they're going.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Mhm.
But yeah, and you can either get you can go from one of three celestial legacies, either exalted, heavenly, or idyllic. Either if you're from the Beastlands, Mount Celestia, or places like Moria. Interesting.
Mm.
Oh, they do one thing that I hate, which I'm okay with, but I still don't like it. I don't know anybody else if they don't mind it. Because I play on a virtual tabletop, it's much more difficult for me to do it than if it is at a home game. But when you give somebody flight as a bonus action on the at first level, then you got to learn how to use flight all the time with everything. Then and
Mm.
I don't mind flight, but I like them to learn how to use flight instead of just having flight and figure out.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah, you get flight right off the bat,
Mm.
and some first, third, and fifth level spells as you grow. Dragonborn are having a little bit of change. Dwarves get a little change. Elves, gnomes, orcs, things. And then they dive into character backgrounds between character backgrounds. They one thing I am excited about is that they are giving people back the first level feat. I think first level feats are so cool because they give your players something different about it. Now I know everything can't be a first level feat, but I'm excited to see where they go with that. Because it's interesting. You remember when they gave first level feats in third edition, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah,
like that a lot. I mean, that was when feats were really, really cool.
yeah, and
They
they
still
had
are.
they had
And
changes to them, and you could level
mm,
them up, and you could make them
yeah.
stronger. Yeah, and then they had 100 books, and it was hard enough to keep up with them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Third edition was great until they added so many books that it was like, which books do you play with? I only play with these five. Well, I have 75 other books that I would like to play with. Like, no, go away. 5 books for this one. Uh, Normally, as a group, we would pick, the main three and then three additionals, and that was all we were playing with because there was so many books. Everybody could dive into weird subclass slash prestige class slash ultimate feats and everything under the sun. You're like, geez. But yeah, backgrounds look similar. I haven't been able to read fully through, spin through these real fast. If anybody in the chat has looked at one D&D and you have questions or you have things you want to us. So it looks like to me though that these are mostly focusing on the features and backgrounds coming out upcoming. Then they have a couple new glossary rules things. You heard about those?
Mm.
So uh, so from now on, they've went back to the world, which I think a lot of people still implement. But now, if you roll a d20, you roll a 20 on a d20, no matter what it is, you succeed regardless of it made. And this does. You also gain inspiration when rolling a 20, thanks to the
Oh,
remark.
okay.
That's one thing. It also looks like they're allowing you get a d20 test. You get to have a target that 5 greater than 30. Um, yeah, so it's for ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws.
Okay. Saving throws too. Okay. Mhm.
Uh, Rolling a d20 doesn't bypass limitations on a test, such as range and line of sight. 20 bypasses only bonuses and penalties. Interesting.
Mm.
Weapons and unarmed strikes have a special feature for player characters' critical hits. If players' characters roll a 20 on an attack roll with a weapon or an unarmed strike, the attack is also a critical hit, which means it deals extra damage to the target. That what they're telling us is that's the only thing that does crits now? Anybody else read this? What are your thoughts on the idea of power creep for the new D&D content? Humans seem so much more powerful than
Hmm.
uh I mean, personally, I think the world of D&D has power creeped quite a bit since second and third edition. So I feel like we are in a requested community wide requirement to have some sort of a power I wouldn't say a power trip, but kind of the power creep that you're talking about.
Mhm.
Uh, it does look, however, that they took away the pluses and minuses
Yeah.
for ability scores as a human. So unless I'm missing that, if anybody can clarify on chat, that'd be helpful. But it looks like they might have taken those things out of all classes or all races.
Yeah, I think they were. This is what I heard that they were doing uh, it related to backgrounds.
Okay,
I might be wrong there, but that's what I heard. I thought that
it,
was I was surprised by that. I didn't know
right.
it worked.
Background when you determine your character's ability score, use two of yeah. This is in your background feed. Stat bonuses have been very interesting.
Hmm.
I guess that would yes because they're giving every class or every race now has three three or four. I guess that's kind of the
Hmm.
thought process because halflings get brave, halfling nimbleness, luck, and natural stealthy. You're given a halfling the ability to be proficient in stealth skill right off the bat. Y'all, we got halfling
Wow.
rogues throughout the rest of the world. That's what's
Mhm.
happening.
Mhm.
Never playing anything other than a halfling rogue if I get stealth right off the bat, because then I can expertise that sucker and it's game.
Oh my. Mhm.
Level one with +8 on your health on your +8 on your proficiency just off the bat. Game
Invisible.
over.
Yeah.
Invisible. Uh, Actually playing a play-by-post game right now where I'm playing a Hexblood rogue, and I have like a +9, +10 as a level 5 for stealth, and it's absolutely crazy. I love it. Let's see here. Feats has a level to take a feat. Level must equal or exceed
Good.
first level feat. Do they stack, or is it talking? I can pick a first level feat every time if I want to, or I have to wait. Okay, so that's not clarified too much in this one. We'll have to wait for more on feats because uh, they're only showing first level feats right now. So what that's gonna look like. More insight on. Seems like a bunch of magic classes are going to share spell lists. It only lists arcane divine. That might be. You might be right. I will counter that request argument, and I kind of want your opinion too, Chris. If you don't, what is bad about if I'm playing a sorcerer or let me rephrase that. If I'm playing a cleric or a paladin, and I'm getting my magic from the same source, why wouldn't I be allowed to use?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a revert back to divine and arcane.
And
Uh,
now they've added primal, so what I'm guessing that means
right.
is sorcerer and wizard,
Hmm.
maybe warlock,
Hmm.
arcane.
Right. Hmm. And then your cleric and your paladin are going to be divine, and then maybe your ranger is going to be primal.
Yeah, your rangers, your
Druid.
ranger, your druid. Ooh, what
Mhm.
is a bard?
Yeah, that's a wild card spell list. I always thought they had that wild card spell list that I love in 5e.
Yeah, I'm
It's
curious.
so different.
Crazy when the bard is going to be able to cast anything. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
I could choose everything. Like, it'd be great. Almost sounds like they're taking Pathfinder 2e spell. I've not played enough Pathfinder 2e Marvelous, but if you can extrapolate a little bit on that, I think that would be an interesting concept. Now, mind you, Arcane, Divine, Primal, and Occult. Maybe. Maybe they're taking something that the community, because if you've watched the D&D or the one D&D trailer, their goal is to very heavily uh, follow the community. And I think that is going to then influence pulls from things like Pathfinder and Call of Cthulhu and other games because a lot of D&D players don't just play D&D. So the crazy thing is going to be when we have to figure out, when do they cross the line because they've taken too much from another company, and then we've got lawsuits on our D&D uh, trailer poster for movie. You haven't seen that? Go look it up. It's hilarious.
I'm gonna look at that.
So, just a heads up for anybody that's not heard of that yet. So, the D&D trailer movie uh, has a intellect devourer on it. And if you go look at what an intellect devourer looks like in D&D and what it looks like in Pathfinder, and somebody literally took the picture from Pathfinder and threw it on the image, and everybody, it was caught like 3 days later, but and it's been taken down since, but I don't think it's been taken. Uh, and it's funny because the pictures look very different. Some of them have thick legs, smaller brain. One of them has big brain, small legs. And then, of course, the Pathfinder one has the notorious tongue sticking out of like the brainstem. And funny enough, that's the picture they picked for the Honor
Well,
Amongst Thieves. And I was like, oh my goodness, how did we not catch this? This
wow.
is horrible. But yeah, it's. Oh, hold on. Divine spells. Look at that. I'm reading and I'm catching things. Divine spells draw their power from gods and outer planes. Clerics and paladins harness their spells. So divines will just be for clerics and paladins.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Gaming sets are a category of tool in which the characters can gain proficiency. Um, those sets now all cost 1 gold apiece. Eh, unless you're playing role playing style, it's never going to be a big issue. Uh, now that you are grappling has changed a little bit, I believe. So now you have disadvantage on attack rolls against any target other than the grappler. That's the same.
Other than
Uh,
yeah.
grapplers can drag or carry you, but the grappler suffers the slowed condition. Escape. When grappled, you make a dexterity or saving strength save against the grappler's escape DC at the end of each of your turn, ending the condition of yourself on a success. Condition also ends if the grappler is incapacitated outside. Okay. Incapacitated. It's cool. You can also, for anybody that's just showing, gaining inspiration you get by rolling a natural 20 now. And also the DM still can award critical hits don't apply for spells anymore. I'm seeing
Hmm.
this. Uh,
Interesting.
that one I'm a little more concerned about. And I think as they're saying this is a modular style, which makes sense, it means one thing and one thing alone. If your game master wants your spells to critically hit, your game master will allow you to have spells that critically.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to be a game master prerogative. I think a lot of these things are being fleshed out more deeply for the fact that this amazing game that we've all been playing for many, many years is being played for the first time by many, many people due to the hype that it has grown over the last 5, 10 years. Um, you can never have more than one instance of inspiration. Good. If you still have inspiration when you start a long rest, you lose the inspiration. Okay. At the end of a long rest, you lose inspiration. Got it. So they did change that a little bit, but that's about it. Load of casters now picking it up because it ain't limited to charisma. Oh, interesting. Did not know wasn't limited to charisma. Check that out. Oh, hey, cool. I'm finding out the other things that we were talking about. Primal spells. Draws from forces of nature and inner planes. Druids and rangers harness these spells.
Mhm.
Hey, does that mean everybody else gets arcane? Because I didn't see arcane. Arcane spells, look at that. Bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. We're going to hand off the keys to the kingdom to 4 classes. Let's see how that one plays out.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
interesting. Bard having the arcane spells.
yeah, so bards, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards will now be able to harness uh, arcane spells as well as artificers. Uh,
Oh, interesting.
that's
Huh. Hmm.
the majority of your classes are going to have arcane spells. So you're really going to be. I'm hoping they give a very large list of different feels to the spells then, because then that requires, or rather not requires, but it makes it much more enjoyable when you have a primal caster and an arcane caster in the same party, because they're going to be very different. If the spells aren't very different, then
Right.
um, they're giving lists for cantrips and level 1 arcane spells, cantrips and level 1 divine spells, and cantrips and level 1 primal spells. So where is Eldritch Blast? And for everybody that needs to know, Eldritch Blast is no longer a must be something directly for our warlocks. We'll find out up and coming divine or creation. Vicious mockery wizard with armor of Agathis. You are a frightening, frightening little man, Shadow. That is scary to even think about. Pick any spellcasting ability now. Also, some of the feats have changed, like the alert feat. Alert now has a thing where you can swap your bonus. Video said, "Hey, where do we need?" I'll be back in a second. Here we go. I'm back. Every once in a while, my video decides to do that. But yeah, no, guys, this is kind of frightening on a couple of these.
Unless some of these spells, interestingly enough, I'm looking at the chat and Eldritch Blast isn't on the list. Is it an ability now? Is it just an ability of a warlock instead of a spell?
So sadly, at this moment, there's no way to tell because we don't have
Right.
class lists yet, and I'm
Mhm.
curious what they're gonna adjust on classes. Because it looks like they're not adjusting a ton, but they're adjusting just enough that it is gonna feel like a different character. If I picked up my warlock or I picked up my paladin, there's only certain things I can do now.
Right.
Different. Um,
Mhm.
it does, however, look like they have completely, well, nope, not completely. I was gonna say it, now I can track myself. I was gonna say they completely removed certain spell lists that have certain items, but I've already found cure wounds in 2 areas, which is good. But also, this means
Hmm.
your interesting one about this is what no longer has cure wounds? The bard.
Oh.
So
Hmm.
think about that one, people, because he's arcane now. Same with your artificer, and yeah. So your divine spells and your primal spells have cure, but your arcane spells do not. What y'all think about that, chat? So you're gonna need somebody other than a whole bunch of divine cat or spellcasters to run with you, because otherwise you're gonna not have a way to heal yourself unless you just buy healing potions.
Yeah, our party right now has a ranger monster hunter, an artificer alchemist, and a conjurer.
Well, I mean,
So
at least you've got your ranger, so
they got the ranger, sure,
he can get cure wounds.
right?
Um,
Our
there's no,
artificer ends up being kind of the buffer and kind of
yeah,
support character, and cast heal most of the time. So that's interesting.
yeah, no, I mean you've got your rangers and your druids now have all of the extra
Okay.
very similar abilities
Yeah.
as your divine.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, magic initiate can pick any spell casting ability now. Also, what do you mean by magic initiate? Let's scroll up, guys. What is he? Magic. And you've learned the basics of a particular magic tradition. Use one spell list, gain the following benefit: cantrips, 1 level spell,
Hmm.
and then you can. Oh goodness! And then you can choose what your spellcasting ability is. So you don't have to. You can shift
Oh,
it.
so you can choose it to be whatever you're best at.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a little frightening. Now,
That's
mind you,
more powerful.
heads up, people. This is Unearthed Arcana. If you've never read the Unearthed Arcana stuff before, sometimes they're a little nuts. Sometimes they're good. It just depends. They're trying to test a bunch of stuff and see what sticks and what doesn't. I tested our Unearthed Arcana for Strixhaven and Witchlight. Both of those class races, or both of the races, were shifted. So like, I don't think we're just getting this, but we are going to see things like this. Some of these feats are pretty hefty. So I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do. I'm glad they're letting that first level tavern brawler though, because nobody likes to punch something for 1 point.
Yeah. Right.
Crafter now has DM having to do math by giving 20% discounts to buying non-magical items. Ooh.
Hmm.
Well, I'll just raise my prices 20.
There you go.
Because he's gonna be the one that bargains everything because he
Hmm.
knows he has money, or he has the ability to do so. But no, I think some of this stuff will stick. Some of it has some good
Hmm.
potential.
Hmm.
Others, maybe not so much. But the only way we're going to find out is if we test it.
Yep.
Um, and that kind of allows us to stem off to our final is uh, a thank you to you for coming on board to hang out with us for the evening. And if the chat is interested and wants to come try to run these things and check these things out, uh, make sure that you scroll up, or if you're brand new, that you come to our Discord and come hang out with us. We'll probably try, if you're interested in running a game, go to the Look Groups channel and open up a game specifically for the 1D&D. And we're trying to build a large community over there. If you're looking to support us, otherwise, please head over to our Patreon, as we have launched that as of last week or a couple weeks actually. And I'll link that in here as well. And not only do you get updates for all of the shows that are coming up, you also get opportunities to come hang out with us in a private Discord channel over on our Patreon, over on our Discord for after games and after the chats we have here, as well as we drop up 2 or so maps a week that we've either used in one of our shows or that one of our game masters is using in games that we can give off to the. It's only $3. Come support us, help us keep the lights on, help us keep these shows going, and we will see you guys all on Sunday for episode 7 of Plots in Darkenhaven, which is a pretty exciting one. Don't miss. And next week, we will have the wonderful Logan from the Red Hair Inn Twitch channel coming to hang out with us, and we're going to talk about homebrew and what he does over there in his on his Twitch channel. Look forward to seeing everybody back. Bring your friends, bring your pints, and come hang out with us back on the tavern next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Take care, everybody.